What's up, YouTube? It's your boy, Robert R. Ricks. We're going to continue reading Magic Really Sucks, Volume 1. Excuse me. What's up, Darren? What's up, Paula? Alright, we left off on Chapter 28. So that's where we're going to pick up and continue the saga. Yes, indeed. Howdy again. Howdy, howdy. Alright. Chapter 28, Watchers Will Not Be Ignored. Antarctica, April 10th. Azazel sat in a chamber of ice which had been smoothed out and had the appearance of glass. The large chair he sat in was made of ice. The temperature in a room would fluctuate between negative 50 degrees Fahrenheit to 20 degrees Fahrenheit. The temp didn't bother him. In fact, he barely even noticed it. Mazarak entered the chamber and silently waited as Azazel continued his thoughts. Azazel stood over 6 foot 8 inches tall and was powerful in build, and the bony protrusions on its back ached slightly. Unlike the rest of his brothers, he showed the shattered remnants of his wings as a reminder of the price they paid. Azazel sighed and phased to Mazarak. Yes. It appears the Nephilim have retrieved the magician card and killed the Kraken. Azazel's eyes widened. What? How? We're unsure. The Kraken's body landed in Russia, and a few of the Watchers reported the body shattered. And we know it's the Nephilim. How? A succubus reported the event to us for a bounty. How interesting. A different outcome than predicted. How interesting indeed. So he's after the Trumps? It appears so. Why? Unknown. And he survived the attack. And yet he refuses the invitation to discuss the nature of things? Yes. I see. Well, if he's after the Trumps, we still have access to another. The Empress? Azazel nodded. It is within our grasp. The traps we set will be difficult to circumvent since they were designed to be set and left, but we know what and where they are. I can dispatch 4 companies of our soldiers and there with 2 of our battle mages. That seems acceptable to me. How many do we expect to survive? Maybe a dozen. Those will be hardened by the experience. Then the Nephilim will have to accept my meeting. Make it happen. Now. Mazarak closed his eyes and nodded. The order has been given. The mages know the location and have ports midway through the labyrinth. So even if the Nephilim is already there, we will have the lead on him. Azazel nodded and closed his eyes. A small smile played on his face. Soon, brother. Soon. Chapter 29. The Empress. Utah Sanctum, 9:01 a.m., April 10th. Ethan examined the magician card and saw the history of the captain and also noted the card was not discovered, but rather was given to the man. He was a normal crewman on the SS Bakimo. He scanned deeper and realized the being who had delivered the card was named a Mazarak. Who is a Mazarak? Ethan asked out loud. The name sounds familiar, not sure why. Kat says it sounds familiar. One sec, said Valk as she pulled her phone out. Okay, the almighty Google has a metal band named Mazarak, and the second entry defines definition by Babylon's Free Dictionary. And click in the Book of Enoch, one of the 7 first instructors of the 4th root race. Yes, that's right. He's a watcher, one of the fallen. Kat says he's one of the fallen watchers. Val put her phone away and shook her head. Melissa looked stern. The captain had mentioned him trying to go home, but he couldn't. The setup was suspect from the beginning. The whole thing was a trap. So the watcher set a trap for you almost 90 years ago? You weren't even born yet. Maybe they were setting a trap for the Oracle, added Valk. Melissa nodded. That makes more sense. They might want her off the board since she can see the future, right? Obviously not, said Sparkle, shaking her head and grumpy. She continued, if she could, I would have hoped she would have warned us about the damn Kraken. Ethan nodded. Okay. If not for me or the Oracle, who then? Another player? Asked Valk. A powerful player, I would think. I mean, a Kraken? Said Melissa, still amazed by what they had gone through. Well, we know Heaven is interested, Hell as well, and the Council. So any force they would have sent might have been taken out, but why? Those troops would be expendable. Seems like severe overkill, continued Melissa. Okay, so that we know the Watchers possessed the card at one point. Why not just use it? It allows normals to use magic like a powerful mage. Since they're restricted, I would think they could get plenty of use out of it. And if they couldn't, they have followers, right? Asked Ethan. Good question. Maybe the Oracle could answer some of these questions. You could also use the Guide Stone, said Valk. Ethan nodded. Oracle, are you there? Oracle? Nothing on my side. Valk, try yours. Valk pulled her talisman out. Oracle, are you there? Nothing. Okay, looks like she's not available at the moment. We'll try again later. I guess I'll talk with the Guide Stone. Ethan massaged the diamond. Everything went white again, and Termina was there. He sat down. Hello, Ethan. Hello, he typed. What can I do for you? The Watchers set an elaborate trap for someone who would be hunting the trumps of power. I sense great power on you from the last time we spoke. Yes, I'm harnessing the power of the magician at the moment. I would caution you on the power of the trumps. Based on the data, I can sense the card is indeed amplifying your power, but it is also leeching some of the power and diverting it somewhere else. Additionally, I sense the card is reaching out and searching for other cards. That seems logical. Why? Unknown. But there seems to be an intelligence about the cards. As I scan it, it evades me. Please be careful. Thank you for your concern. You're welcome. I'm trying to figure out why Watchers would set a trap and use this card as bait. We ruled out the Oracle and me. That seems logical. Who would be likely targets? There are gods who walk the planet who might covet the power of the cards. Your mother is an example. You know of her. I did not, until you did. So anything I hear or learn, you learn. Yes. Does the council see all of this as well? Yes, but only the council master. Thank you for your honesty. I serve you. I guide you. Lying to you would not be conducive to the process. Ethan nodded. Okay, sorry for getting off topic. Who do we think might be the targets? The Kraken would have required a lot of convincing since it was a sentient older creature. We need to figure out who it might have hated as well. The Kraken has gone by many names in many cultures. Excuse me, Rona. It was referred to as Leviathan, Tiamat, and Lotan. Leviathan was one of God's pride and joy. It was a powerful ally to Israel. Later, the name Leviathan was used to represent evil, became the symbol of devil worship. Interesting. So it was originally a good thing, and then later marketed as an evil thing? So what was it? Good. Who was responsible for the switch? The lie? Ah, wait, you just gave me a hint. Yes. The father of lies. That fits. I thought he was stuck in hell. He has to be there, but he can walk the earth in short periods. It requires a lot of energy, but he has come many times in the past. He can come and go, as he pleases. So a trap for Lucifer? Maybe. He is one. But understand, hell has champions who also walk the earth from time to time. Any of those champions would have been a good target as well. Why would Watchers, who are basically fallen angels, want to take out Lucifer? Unknown. I'm not even sure that is possible. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I have heard that Lucifer does not care for the Watchers as a whole. Perhaps they share a mutual hatred. Yeah, I heard something like that as well a long time ago. This is a complicated situation you find yourself in. Yeah, sucks to be me. Be careful. You may be a demigod, but there are limits, and the power you toy with is beyond you. I appreciate the warning. I assume you saw the safety measures I have in place with the cards, shifting, and the sanctum? Yes, very clever. They indeed offer protection, but even the best vaults can be cracked. As I mentioned, the cards are powerful, and there are undoubtedly as many who crave the power they possess. There are many that crave the power they possess. Sorry guys, give me 1 second. Understood. Thank you. The white room vanished and the group stared at Ethan. So yeah, we killed the Kraken, aka Leviathan. Melissa's eyes widened. Oh. So what? It was trying to eat us, said Sparkles dryly. Yeah. The Guidestone thinks the actual target was Lucifer or one of his champions. What are the champions? Melissa spoke. Okay, you know the archangels. Yes. Well, Lucifer was an archangel, and there were many who followed him, and in his army there were 4 that were almost as powerful as an archangel. There was Beleth, Elagos, Paimon, and Akamana. These 4 are very powerful. I imagine they are his champions. The question I have is this: can Lucifer and his champions die? Not in the standard sense of death, since the way it works is when a human dies, their soul goes to heaven or hell. Okay, I have questions about that later, but for now, what happens to them? They go back to the plane where they're locked into. For example, they can't be on Earth in their native form for long. They need a host, or they need to be summoned. The problem is most mages are not powerful enough to summon anything more than a lesser demon like Randy or Margot. If you consider Randy, you saw his natural form die here on Earth. He was summoned. When he died, he rematerialized in hell. If he dies in hell, though, he ceases to be. He's just gone. Same with me. You can kill me here, but I'll just reappear in heaven. I'll be weaker, but I'd still be alive. If you killed me in heaven, then I'm gone. There are rumors of certain weapons which will wipe us out regardless of where we are. I suspect those are just propaganda to freak us out. So in theory, if you kill them in hell, they'd be gone. Yes. So why use a Kraken? You guys are forgetting a piece of the puzzle. Everybody looked at Sparkles. What? Magic didn't work around the Kraken. Ethan facepalmed himself. They weren't trying to kill the target. They wanted the Kraken to eat or trap him or her and imprison whoever it was. Melissa considered it. Yes, that would work. And judging by the size of the Leviathan, it would be a tough fight. You just figured a way that no one considered before. Ethan nodded. Sparkles, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to go to the astral and take a look at me and tell me what you see. Sparkles nodded. She faded from view. She rematerialized and had a concerned look on her face. Ethan, I think you need to power down and put that card in rotation. There's all kinds of energy snaking off of it, and it's really bright. There's like power flowing from it to you and some coming off of you. If I didn't know any better, I'd say it looks like a parasite. Ethan motioned. The card floated in front of him. He took his blade, pricked his finger, and traced a glyph on the card and set it into rotation. The moment it did, he felt lighter. His head ached slightly. Wow, that card took a little out of me. Yeah. Remember the captain? He said he was tired. What do you think the card was doing? I know it was looking for the other cards. The Guidestone thinks they are alive in some way. Wonderful, said Sparkles. I am concerned. I am examining you and you appear fine, but your personal power level is fluctuating. Nothing too bad when it flows low, but the power is also increasing, noted Cat. That's bad? Yes. We stabilized while training. It took you a full year to hit your base level. Since we've been hunting these cards, your power level has started growing again. Really? Yes, and it's almost doubled what took a year before. I feel the same. Interesting. So you're not even aware of the power increase. Okay, I'll continue to keep an eye on you. So what are you doing now? Asked Sparkles. Well, I know the location of the Empress. It's kind of funky. The image I got from the Oracle tells me it's in a maze of some sort, and there's going to be bad things waiting for us. I'm thinking this is a fight our way through. You mean harder than fighting off a Kraken or a team of Chimera? No. You know what I mean. Yeah, Home Slice, I got you. Can we at least grab a bite? Ethan nodded. He was famished. Hey Val, can you teach me the spell you use to create food from memory? I want to make us some DP cheesesteak sandwiches. I'd know you'd love it. Sure, it's easy enough. Val taught Ethan the spell, and it was as she said, easy. 3 glyphs in the air created a diamond-shaped window. Then the primary hand would need to position itself in an odd formation of middle finger curled back on the primary finger's first knuckle, with the last 2 fingers pointing out as you form the image of food from memory and focus on the flavor, the temperature, and size. You then create a final glyph in your mind that represents the dish as well as the trigger word for which would be an abbreviated mixed piece of the dish. Ethan nodded, performed the summoning, and said, "Best cheese whiz," and a single steamy, foot-long sandwich appeared. He did his spell 3 more times, and they sat there, eating and enjoying in silence. "Someone give me a Coke?" asked Sparkles. Valk motioned, and a 6-pack showed up. "You know, normally stuff would kill you," said Sparkles, "but since we can cleanse, what the hell, right?" Ethan nodded. "My lord, this is delicious," said Melissa. "This is pretty good. This is a local store here in Utah?" asked Valk. Ethan nodded. "Yep. Randy introduced it to me last month." Melissa nodded. "Yeah, I would have remembered this if it were a spot we ate at." Ethan smiled. A few minutes later they were done, and they all had content looks on their faces. "Okay. Well, we can head out in an hour. I need time to make sure I have all the spells I need ready. By the way, the wristbands are useful as armor as well. It's the same armor I use in combat. Takes a lot of abuse before it collapses." Sparkles glanced at hers and smiled. "Not that I do a lot of fighting, but good to know." "What you got planned?" asked Kat. "Since I expect a lot of fighting, I want to make sure I have more healing ready. The Kraken was a wake-up call. I gotta make sure I have backup plans in case something goes sideways and someone is hurt." "Well, you and Sparkles are covered in case you guys get knocked out. I can't help with the others, though." "Hey guys, quick question for you. Any event me and Sparkles gets knocked out, Kat can still get us out. She can autopilot stuff. Anyone interested in a special pair of goggles?" Val shook her head. "No thanks, it clashes with my style. No offense." Melissa also shook her head. "If you go down, I'm going to pull us all out." "Just offering. She saved my bacon more times than I can count, and she links me and Sparkles so I don't have to relay her messages." Val began working some spells, and Melissa shook her head and smiled. "Okay. Yeah, I tried. I'll have to make sure I don't get caught slipping, right?" Ethan joked. "No worries. We got it," said Kat confidently. Ethan prepped several spells as well as a return ports back to Sanctum. "Okay, guys, we ready to do this? As long as it ain't no ocean, it's on like Donkey Kong." Melissa and Valk nodded. Ethan motioned the glyphs in the air and uttered a single word, "Portalis." The portal opened from a small pinhole of light the glyph had made, and it stood silently open, revealing a large stone archway. Ethan walked through, followed by Valk and then Melissa. Sparkles paused for a moment, and then she also passed through. They stood in a wide room carved out of stone. A howling wind roared behind them, and Sparkles investigated. Approaching the entrance, she saw that they stood on a large mountain. They were so high she couldn't see the land below the clouds. "Well, this is interesting," said Sparkles. "What's that?" asked Valk. "I don't know where we are. And I've got built-in MGPS, and it's not working. This area kind of reminds me of the location where the monastery was. Something is messing with my location sense," Sparkles said, slightly unnerved. "I know where we are," said Ethan. "You do?" "Yes. The Oracle shared the name of the mountain and a description of the location." "Where are we?" "Gankar Pwonsan. We're in Bhutan." There was a shifting of the air near them. The team pulled out their blades and waited. A form appeared high in the room, fell to the floor hard. "Crap." The voice was familiar. "Randy?" "Yeah." "How the hell did you get here?" asked Ethan. "I poured it to the napkin I wrote my number on." "You did what?" "That's nearly a blind port. You could have poured it into the abyss," said Melissa. He stood up and dusted himself off. Well, my first attempt landed me in the ocean, and I nearly drowned. Good thing I was ported right back to my apartment. Then I waited a bit and tried again. I guess second time's a charm. Ta-da! Melissa raised her sword and was ready to swing. Listen, sweet cheeks, I'm not here to cause problems. I'm here to help, if I can. Where are we? We're kind of in the middle of something. Appreciate your help, but we're good, man, said Ethan, scanning the area. Look, Ethan, I know you're pissed about the whole demon thing and all that, but we were good friends, man. I was being real. Man. Gotta change that. I love the warm monsters and all. Monsters as in energy drinks? Asked Sparkles. Yeah. You drink them warm? Yep. That's sick, man. That's sick. I say we throw them off the mountain. Funny cat. I think she's serious. You need to go, warned Ethan. Wait, seriously, man. There's gotta be some way I can prove I'm down. Valk stepped forward. What's the deal between the Fallen and Hell? Oh, that's easy enough. They hate each other. Everyone knows that. Yes, but why would the Fallen set a trap for Lucifer as champions? What? Where? How? Ethan nodded. Leviathan attacked us, and we're pretty sure it was there for your boss or his champions. We're just curious what good it'd do. Okay. Hell is a magical domain, right? Has its power. Let's just call it dark magic. It's the source for the mages and beings who use that form of energy. People like to think the source comes from Lucifer. That's not the case. It's been there, like, forever. After God created everything, the energy is unpredictable, though. It requires the 4 champions and Lucifer as a focal point. 4 champions represent the force-based element, fire, water, earth, and air. Lucifer is the final element, light. Wait. When we were studying martial magic, we were told the 5 elements were fire, water, earth, air, and metal. Yeah, but that's not quite right. Since the metal has to be forged, they were using it as an analogy for human beings, tempered like steel. The real 5th would be light, which is why Lucifer is named as such. Light bearer, said Melissa, who was very interested in the history lesson. Yes, you see, Lucifer is not really a name, it's a title, the mantle of an angel who's handling the business down below. The main reason Lucifer can't walk the earth isn't that he's a prisoner, isn't a prison, it's because he spends too much time away. If he spends too much time away from the energy, it'll surge up, and the other 4 will drop, and the energy flows freely on the earth. What happens if one of the 5 is captured and isn't in hell to stop the flow? Well, for mages who manipulate and use energy, and are strong enough, they'll be gods. The weaker practitioners will burn out. A lot of gates and boundaries will collapse, and nasty dark things will be able to walk on the earth again. Oh, and most normals and non-practitioners will die. Wow, is that all? Asked Sparkles, irritated. Okay, so if I understand what you're saying, if just one of the 5 is stuck on Earth, the power will overload the remaining 4 until they can't control it, and the darkness will overrun the Earth, and a handful of really dark, powerful mages will become gods? Bingo. What kind of magic does the Fallen Watchers have access to? Basically all, but there's a snafu. The Fallen can't cast spells. They got beat down by the big guy upstairs. Well, someone's trying to use the Leviathan to catch something powerful. That was accustomed to using magic. How do you know that? Because when we faced the Leviathan, normal magic didn't work. Our recall failed. I had to rely on the magic of a different sort. A trump? Ethan nodded. That is interesting. Why? Because magic is magic, right? Why would normal magic fail, but trump magic succeed? Everyone was silent. Look, man, if you want me to go, I'll go. I'm just trying to be helpful. Plus, me and Melissa can't die, right? I can roll point, open things that might go boom, etc. The body I'm wearing right now is not a nice guy, so if he happens to go bye-bye, no harm, no foul. Melissa nodded. That's true. Demons recover faster than angels. It would be nice to have a willing sacrificial pawn who doesn't fear death. Yes, I agree. I'd rather he be risked than one of the team, added Kat. Ethan felt conflicted. I know you still think of him as your friend, but he's a demon, not to be trusted. Ethan sighed. That means yeah? Randy perked up and seemed excited. Yeah, let's go. You could take point. You have a weapon? I have a pistol. I enchanted it to never run out of bullets. It'll be like Hollywood. Anything special about your enchanted bullets? Asked Falk. Oh yeah, but I wanted it as a surprise for whenever we come up against. Also, what's the rules of engagement? We talking to things, or we just killing them? Unsure. We don't know what we're up against really. I know beyond that gateway is a maze, and in it there are things meant to stop us, above and beyond that. Okay, we'll play by ear. A maze, huh? Interesting. You know the tricks on mazes. Ethan shook his head. Well, all mazes that are normal are pretty easy. There's two ways to do them. Main question is this. Do you think we may need to find a fast way out through the maze, or do we just plan on porting when we're done? Good question. We weren't expecting magic to stop working when we faced the Leviathan. Depending on how crazy the maze is, we might need a fast way to retrace our steps. Why? Well, you may recall when we were waiting for stuff to compile or other developers to take our code, I used to play with puzzles and crosswords and mazes. Ethan nodded. Yeah, I used to watch you put X's on the mazes. Yep, that's called Tremo's algorithm. We mark each end of a path, gotta be visible though from each end. We don't enter the paths that have marks on them. If we get to a junction that has no marks, we choose a path and mark it. If we end up at a path that has a mark, we mark it again. When we get where we're going, if we need to return, we just follow the single marks. That'll be the fastest way out. Got it? Ethan laughed. No, but since you're leading anyway, you can show by example as we go. Do you have anything to mark with? No. Here. Ethan pulled his booth knife, which glowed a slight red. You and your knives, I swear to God, said Randy as he took the blade. I know, right? Started Sparkles. Okay, let's go. Randy started towards the archway and the rest followed closely. He paused as he got to the threshold. Something's odd here, he said as he examined the arch, which had thousands of glyphs on it. What do you mean? Asked Ethan. There's some heavy-duty spell work here. Ethan, he's right. There's a lot of magic flowing through and around that archway. Cat says Randy's right. Something odd here. Sparkles, see what you can see in the astral. Okay. Sparkles faded out and returned. It's even in the astral? I've never seen anything like it. Okay, well, we're here. Let's see what happens. Randy nodded and looked nervous. Ride or die, bro, said Sparkles. I'm hoping for the ride, Randy said with a chuckle. Randy passed the threshold and waited. Nothing happened. Okay, so far so good. The rest of the team passed through, and as they did, they felt a wild tingling sensation. There were three directions they faced. Randy looked forward and nodded. Ethan nodded, and they continued. As they did, there was a faint sound like whispers in the air. Guys, look. They turned, and the archway was gone. Okay, these look the same. Maybe the archways move. We'll have to see. Randy marked the wall by plunging the blade in and carving a large X. The walls are made of a soft red colored clay, so the carving was relatively easy to a point. Randy pushed the blade in and it went as far as the hilt, which was exactly 9 inches. Let's illuminate these X's. Randy snapped his finger. Nothing. Okay, said Sparkles, unimpressed. It's supposed to fill with cool hellfire. Very cool effect. Val pulled her sword, slowly tapped Ethan's shoulder with the flat side of the blade. Crap, Ethan said as he felt the cool metal. What? Asked Randy. My armor's gone. Sanctum. Ethan vanished for a second and then reappeared where he was just standing. Well, this is going to be fun, said Valk. Said Valk as she scanned the area. Someone doesn't want us to leave, Melissa said as she gripped her bow tighter. I'll just mark the passages as we go then. They wandered the maze for an hour, and Randy was sweating. Man, my arms are starting to kill me. Ethan was about to say something when forms started to appear on the walls and figures stood before them, their surface shifting. One held a blade the same length as Ethan's. Another appeared that mimicked Valk, and then Randy and Melissa. Finally, a small form emerged that looked like Sparkles. You gotta be kidding me, she said. Ethan launched an attack on his version, and as the blade hit its mark, it deflected off the unseen armor. Okay, this is not going to be fair. They have the magic we came in with. He noted there were no goggles on this clay copy, or sparkles. Well, they don't have all of our tricks then. Roll right, said Cat. Ethan did as instructed, and the blade missed him by a hair. The copy was quick. Not as quick as he was, but it knew his moves. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw the clay sparkles leap towards Sparkles. He had an open strike and swung his blade, cleaving it in half. Hitting the ground, it exploded into red dust. Thanks, yelled Sparkles. No problem. Help each other out when you see openings. He heard a single shot ring out and saw the armor on the head of his clone flash and crack. The clone was momentarily stunned by the impact. Ethan swung for the same impact spot, and the blade penetrated the faceless form. It exploded into red dust as well. Sparkles jumped and pushed Randy out of the way as another shot rang out from the clay version of him. Valk swung her blade down and removed the hand, while the Melissa removed its head. Again, red dust exploded. Ethan felt a searing cut on his left thigh and jumped back. Valk's double had launched a sneak attack. He swung and landed on its head, but only managed to stagger it as the armor flashed and took the blow. Melissa rolled under the swing of her clone and hit the same mark on Valk's clone, dispatching it. Another shot rang out. Melissa's clone took the shot to the head and spun around with a vicious swing. Ethan's sword met the blade and deflected it at the last moment as Valk landed the killing blow on the final clone. That was interesting, Melissa said. How many shots that gun normally have? Asked Valk curiously to Randy. 6, why? I didn't note anything out of ordinary on the impact from the bullets. Damn it, you're right. I'm shooting .45 caliber rounds. I have 4 shots left. Randy stared at the pistol and grumbled. Okay, let's keep going. They walked on for another 15 minutes, and then they came across bodies. The passageway walls became difficult, too, as they had thousands of small 3-inch holes that covered their surface. 10 men laid before them with shocked looks of terror on their face. Multiple red, swollen bite marks were visible on parts of their bodies. The bites oozed a sickly, glowing green liquid. Oh, no, said Sparkles. I know what did this. Guys, run, guys, now, as fast as you can. Sparkles sprinted forward. Ethan, in the rest, fought to keep up and was surprised at how fast she moved. Why are we running? Yelled Randy from the back. Fey Widows! Melissa nodded and pushed harder. What's a Fey Widow? Yelled Ethan. Suddenly, from holes in the walls, a chittering sound was heard, and a sound of scurrying filled the air. The group dodged dead bodies on the ground and pushed on as fast as they could. Small spiders started pouring out from the wall and ahead. A raised section of flooring presented itself. It had bricked pillars, and there were a few bodies there as well. The group made it there, and in front of them, a huge wave of crawling blackness approached. They were trapped. Sparkles looked horrified. Is it a fast death? Randy asked. No, it's slow, painful, and filled with horrifying hallucinations. Lovely. Ethan sheathed his sword, pulled back the sleeve on his shirt, revealing the dragon tattoo. I hope this works. He charged back towards the closest set of spiders, and as they jumped to meet him, everything moved in slow motion. Suddenly, he could feel them on him. He could feel the distinct weight of each spider which had landed on his body, and he expected the punctures of hundreds of ravenous fangs in his skin. A deep roar rang out. The dragon form exploded off of his body and swirled around him and his friends, breathing mystical fires on them. The fire didn't harm Ethan or his friends, but had a devastating effect on the spiders, who instantly were engulfed in the flames which seemed alive and ravenous. The spiders sensed the danger, and the back rows fled back away from the fire. The ones that had landed on Ethan were singed and burned away quickly. Less than a minute later, the dragon returned to his body and the tattoo faded more. He had a feeling the dragon would not be able to activate again for some time. Thanks, Mom, he mumbled to himself. Yeah, thanks indeed. Good thinking, Ethan. I was sure we're done for. Randy walked up to Ethan and flicked off burnt spiders stuck to his clothes. What the bloody hell was that? A gift from my mom? That was wicked. Yeah, well, let's hope they don't come back, because that's a one-time use for a while. Understood. Let's get out of here. I don't see holes that way, but I do see bodies. They quickly passed through the area, and when they got to the next junction, Randy didn't do marking. He just laid one body over the other into the form of an X. Everybody stared at him as he did. What? They make better markers, easier to see. Who are they? Asked Ethan. Valk pulled back the sleeve on one of the dead men, and there was a mark on his arm. Fallen, said Melissa. Wait, so they're here too? I'm confused, said Sparkles. I'm not. They're trying to get the card, Ethan said as he picked up the pace. Sparkles, shift to the Astro, see if you can spot the card. Sparkles shifted, and Randy nodded. That's how she found the card in the first place. Brilliant. Sparkles returned and looked stressed. You see it? Yeah, but we have a problem. What? It's activated. Someone has it and is using it. Crap, where? Sparkles pointed to her right. About 300 yards that way. They pushed on and found more bodies and other deformed creatures with wicked claws, dead. They fought all of these? Exclaimed Randy. As they turned the next corner, they saw a large group of warriors and an old man who had the card in hand. The warriors charged forward, but instead of attacking, created a defensive line. Ah, the Nephilim and his motley crew have arrived. I'm afraid it's too late. We have the prize, the mage said with a sneer. So what, Gramps? Spells don't work here? So you could pour it out? Give us the damn card, replied Randy. With this, I don't need to port. The mage's eyes flared brilliant green, and vines sprang up from the earth and started to entangle the group. They swung their blades, cutting the thick vines. Larger greenery sprung up under the mage and his guards. 4 monstrous vines shot up towards the roof and bashed a small hole, allowing sunlight to pour in, and the mage smiled. Do not be concerned. My master eagerly awaits your meeting. The vegetation grew rapidly, and the mage rose towards the opening. Randy, get him! Randy fought off a thick vine with a blade and shot a couple of rounds. First shot hit the mage in the shoulder, and he nearly dropped the card. Second shot would have hit the old man, but the guards jumped in front of it and fell off the platform. The mage glared at Randy, and the glowing eyes flared up, and 3 barbed vines lashed at Randy and impaled him. Randy screamed out once, and his body slumped forward. Randy! See you soon, Nephilim, the mage said in a pained yell, and the growth blocked the hole, and the mage and his guards were gone. A few minutes passed, and the growth started to wither away rapidly. Ethan got to Randy, whose lifeless body fell to the floor. Don't be afraid. Randy's not dead. He's going to wake up soon, back in hell. Let's get out of here, Ethan said, feeling defeated. Okay, hang on a second. I gotta get my eyes. My eyes are all blurring up. It's hard for me to read. Let me hit this soda real quick. Alright, let's see how big the next few here are. Okay, I think we can get the next 2 chapters in here. Chapter 30, Interesting Facts. Hell, April 11th. Randy felt the pain of the vines as they had lashed him, and the savage impalement of the huge deadly vine had pierced his heart, and he had died quickly. Everything faded into a deep cold blackness and was calm. Suddenly he felt a tugging sensation at his deepest core, and he gasped as he sat up. Well, 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 didn't expect you home so soon. What happened? Did the Nephilim decide to get rid of you? Randy didn't see Lucifer, but recognized his voice instantly. Excuse me. Well, excuse me. No. A falling mage used a trump did me. Using a trump did me. Lucifer stood over the form of Randy, who was laying on a large black slab of obsidian. Fallen. Randy nodded, still feeling disoriented. Show me. Lucifer slammed his hand on Randy's head and forced all of the memories to flow into him. Ah. So, the Nephilim wanted to know about the champions. He took out Leviathan. Very interesting. You shared a great many secrets with your old friend. I did so to gain his trust. I was working an angle from the cards. You forget, Randy. I see all, and know all of my children. I knew you had real feelings for your old friend. Why do you think I sent you back in the first place? You did exactly what I needed you to. Are you going to destroy me now? Probably not. There's still use for you. Why don't you just lay there and rest for a bit? He pressed down quickly, knocking Randy out. See he does not wake until I need him. Several nurses with no faces stood there nodding. Excellent, said Lucifer with a wide grin on his face. Chapter 31, Dealings. Utah Sanctum, 7:55 a.m., April 11th. It took Ethan and his friends a few hours to find new placement of the arch, and he was relieved they didn't have to deal with the Fey Widows again. They reported back to the Sanctum with no issues once they reached the archway. I'm sure Randy is fine, said Kat reassuringly. Yeah, I know, it's just weird is all. How's your leg? Healed up already? What else is bothering you? You know I have to go meet with Azazel now. Why? You don't have to. Well, my hand's kind of forced here. He has the Empress card. So what? Well, I'm trying to get all 5 of the cards. Why is that so important to you? I have seen what they can do, and I want to make sure they don't fall into the wrong hands. Is that the only reason? No. I'm curious what the 5 cards can do when combined. Curiosity killed the cat, you know. He nodded. Yeah, I know. So what's the plan, my man? Asked Sparkles with a smile. We know one card is in the possession of the council. We know who's got it. Hidden, what we don't have is a plan on getting that card. We know the 3 fates have it. I'm open to ideas. Valk looked at Sparkles. Any chance that king of yours can help? Sparkles looked shocked for a moment and then looked down. Depends. On what? Asked Ethan. What it's worth to you. What do you mean? The king of the fake hats can locate anything, but there's always a price. You think the rumors of Lucifer is scary, is a scary thought. Make a deal with the king, and you see there's always a heavy price. In my opinion, it's not worth it. Just saying. So the king can find a card? I'm 99.999% sure he can, but I'm also 99.999% sure he won't want to tell us. Why? I was supposed to be his queen after the last one died. What? Yeah, I didn't want that. Not about that life. Seriously, no joking here, Melissa said. I wondered what Ethan meant when he held the judgment card going. When he had the judgment card going. You were supposed to be queen of the fake hats? Yes. Is the king that bad? Asked Valk. No. He's charming, lovely fey. I couldn't handle responsibility and obligation that goes with it. Plus, I'd be stuck there. Royalty never leaves the fey realm. Okay. So you think it's a bad idea? Any alternatives? Sparkle stopped for a moment. What about the Empress card? What's the plan there? I'll have to go visit my father and see what's what. He obviously wants a meeting bad enough to sacrifice a bunch of his followers, forcing me to go there. Valk looked stern. Is this really what you want to do? I don't know. It feels like it's my purpose now. The thing that I suspect will define me. It's like I'm fated to do this. Know what I mean? She nodded, and he saw that she did understand, and he thought back to Judgment, and he looked at her arms. Well, it's obvious either choice is going to bring some crap our way. One is in the Pleasant Fey dimension, and the other you do on your own. I'll go visit the Fallen first. I'm curious as to what they're playing at here. I'm nervous about this. I don't know what will happen if I go with you. You'll have to leave me here, Kat said with sadness and concern in her voice. Understood. Ethan removed the goggles, handed them to Valk. Hang on to these for me. I'll be back shortly. Valk nodded, turned to go to the kitchen, her eyes welling up with a single tear. She wasn't sure why she had gotten emotional and did not want to alarm Ethan. Melissa hugged Ethan. Please be careful. Of course I will, he winked at her. She answered with a solid punch on his shoulder, which landed with a thud. Hey, armor up, will you? He nodded. He made the glyphs on either shoulder and felt the spell's trigger, and the armor flashed for a moment. She punched again and felt the painful rigidness of the armor. There you go. Sparkles leaned up on his thigh with her forepaw, and he couldn't help but scratch her behind a large ear like he would any cat. That's a freebie, she said, and saw his face froze. Oh, saw his face. As she saw his face, realized he may have inadvertently offended her. Sorry. Nah, don't be. Totally cool. Be safe there and make sure you bring your ass back here. I will. Plus, you don't have crap in the fridge. I want another one of those DP cheesecake sandwiches. Okay. Ethan turned and examined a paper that had been delivered to him on the Arrow. He created a portal with the information, and as it opened, he saw a barren platform with majestically sterile visage of pure white snow. He walked through the portal immediately. There were 3 giants in front of him. They examined him and smiled. Welcome, brother, said the smallest of the 3. He saw they had 6 fingers on their massive hands, and one greeted him. He saw it had 2 rows of teeth. You're Nephilim, he said to them cautiously. Yes, the last of the giants. Why do people say I'm so special then when there are you? Can you use spells? The largest shook his head. No, our parents were not gifted, so we took a different route than you. Ethan nodded and understood. I see. I'm here to see Azazel. The large one nodded. We were instructed to wait here for one with the note. Ethan showed the note he had used with the port. I'll take you there right away. Do you happen to have food from the earth? We are very hungry, as you see. There's not much here. As a matter of fact, I do have a spell which may satisfy you. He had an extra food summon spell and wondered if he could change some of the parameters. Casting a spell, he changed the size to be 25 times normal, resulting in a DP cheesesteak sandwich 25 feet long. When it landed in front of the giants, their eyes grew, and they smiled. It was hot, and the cheese whiz dripped to the ground as they divided it up amongst each other. They devoured it and smiled. Thank you, brother. It's been so long since we've eaten, and that was glorious. I shall now take you to see Azazel. Please relax as I carry you. The large giant lifted Ethan easily and turned his palm up, and Ethan simply sat on the hand like a large chair. We have to go through the light, and if you were not with me, it would cause you much pain. Okay. The giant walked on, and the other 2 stood guard over a portal. A few minutes later, they entered a large room which had large furniture which looked to be carved from ice. Each piece was ornate, and obviously someone had spent a great deal of time carving it. The giant noticed Ethan was examining one chair in particular that had beautiful women holding the arms of the chair up. The detail was amazing. Do you like the chairs? Ethan nodded. Yes, it looks like a Grand Master carved these. The giant smiled. Thank you, brother. I am the one who designed this room. It is amazing work. Beautiful. Yes, indeed. Saul does great work. A deep voice said from around the corner. The voice was loud and commanding, and it echoed softly. Thank you, Saul. I will entertain our guests now. It was nice meeting you, brother, Saul said, as he gently placed Ethan on the ground. Yes, Saul. It was a pleasure meeting you as well. The large giant walked out of the room quickly. The stranger walked into the room and wore simple clothing, but the huge broken wings on his back were plainly visible. Are you Azazel? I am. And you are the Nephilim Ethan. Yes. Mother sends her regards and asks that you not refer to me as such. Does she now? What do you know of your mother? I know she is a goddess. And what does your goddess mother suggest I refer to you as, pray tell? Demigod or son? Son. So this is the prodigal son returning to his father? Not even close. You have something I need. Yes, straight to it then. Yes, I'm tired of games and not here to play yours. What of my game do you know, little demigod? Azazel sat in the chair that Ethan had admired earlier. I suspect you're trying to unleash the darkness from hell. And why would I do that? To get what you want. Which is what, exactly? Freedom, power, respect. Interesting. That is my grand plan then, isn't it? You had the Leviathan guarding a ship where you had the magician card there as bait. The Leviathan somehow negated magic except when I was able to do the magician card. It was luck that I figured out how to kill it, and obviously It was obviously meant to capture a powerful target. And if Leviathan was able to capture who? Lucifer, one of his champions? Azazel's face gave no expression, no tells. Ethan realized if he were playing poker, the watcher would have a distinct advantage. And if I captured one of them, then what? They would have to rescue him, or the dark power would begin to overflow in hell, which would cause all kinds of issues on the earth. Amazing. Please continue this wonderful tale of sinister machinations. And once the power is released, you'd be able to harness the power and rise to your previous glory. Azazel stood and clapped a single thunderous clap, and then another, and stopped. That is clever indeed. He sat back down and placed an elbow on a table and leaned on his hand as he continued. Did we set a trap with the power card? Yes. Were we fishing for Lucifer's champion? Not specifically. We are more than anything curious who would be the Oracle's puppet. I was surprised to learn it was you, but then fate has a funny way of throwing us bones. Wait, so I'm wrong? Yes, on so many levels. Here. Azazel motioned and a power trump floated in front of him. I have no need for this. The car drifted towards Ethan and he slowly reached out and paused. What's the cost? There is no cost. You have paid for it already. I wanted to know what you knew, and now that I know, I am satisfied that you are not the enemy I initially thought you to be. A bit naive and foolish, but that's to be expected by one so young as you. You've barely begun to live. I do not consider you an enemy. Please, do not become one. What's your game then? You can't use magic. You're a prisoner in this place, it seems. Ah. That's where you were wrong, my young demigod. Allow me to give you a tour of this prison. Azazel stood up and walked back towards the area where he was at when Ethan had entered the room initially. Ethan grabbed the card, which was freezing to the touch, and he placed it in his inside pocket of his vest. They walked down a long corridor and entered a ledged area overlooking a huge flattened area where Ethan could see a massive amount of magic flowing. How is this possible? We found a location where a different vein of magic flows. We have been recruiting for many years, and when the Nazis found us, we had access to an army more than happy to become indoctrinated into the realm of magic. Ethan looked down and saw close to 1,000 soldiers practicing a form of martial magic he had never seen before. The soldiers wore a different uniform than traditional Nazis, but he saw the color palette had not shifted much from the brown and red. The armbands instead held an emblem of the fallen Watchers. So the Nazis found the purebloods they were looking for? Yes. What do you plan on doing with this army, if I may ask? For now, they guard us and we teach. I suspect at some point, though, they will want to get a seat at the council, or they will wage war on them. It matters not to us. You see, even without the ability to use magic, we can still teach and spread our influence. Ethan looked down, and his skin crawled as he thought back to the atrocities they had unleashed on the world with traditional normal weapons. Magic made those normal weapons seem like toys. A well-trained mage was like having the power of an attack helicopter and a squad of special forces mixed into a single person. And there were over 1,000 he saw in front of him. So that you understand, these are the new recruits. They are training. We are vast and have many who do our bidding, report back to us. We've done very well for ourselves here. We've even matched our strength against the U.S. military and won. Are you serious? They know about you? Yes, as do many other countries. We've given them warnings, told them to leave us alone here with our people, and there will be no consequences. Every so often there will be a change of guard, and then they might try to have a conversation with us. Always we turn them away. We keep tabs on the normals because they think with their nuclear weapons they might have a chance against us. What they do not understand is we could take that energy and redirect it in so many ways. So far they have done well to stay out of our way. Our armies grow. Our powers here does as well. Slowly, granted. But for us, time is irrelevant, since we are immortal, as are you now. As are you now. Echo. Oh, so then, the card is mine, free and clear. Yes, and as a courtesy, we simply ask you stay out of our way if you do not wish to join us. You want me to join you? If you choose. I demand nothing of you. I would teach and you would illustrate to the followers. It's easier to teach when you can actually demonstrate. Wouldn't you agree? With the power of a demigod and the knowledge we possess, great things could be accomplished. A reshaping of the world of man. Ethan nodded. Allow me time to think about it. I appreciate your hospitality and your openness. You're welcome. Please visit us any time. Ethan nodded, made it a single glyph, and said sanctum. He vanished. Azmarak stood there in contemplation. A Mazarak walked into the room, regarded his leader, who looked troubled. What is the master? How is the Nephilim? The demigod is fine. What he said, though, troubles me. I am unsure why he thinks I am his father. Father? Yes. Where did he come by this information? His mother, I suppose. She is. I don't know, but she is a goddess. That much I know is true, as I can smell the blood on him and see the power. It's not human blood that flows through his veins. Did he see and understand our reach? Yes. Will he be a problem? I'm not sure. But this other player who is very capable seems to be more important for us to figure out. Who do you suspect? The one who is most brilliant. A Mazarak nodded. I see. Yes. Ethan materialized back into Sanctum as Sparkles jumped and landed on him. You weren't gone long. No, I wasn't, but I learned a lot, and more importantly, I got this. Ethan reached in and pulled out the trump and smiled. How many did you have to kill? Asked Valk. None. How many blood oaths did you have to make? Asked Melissa. None. So what horrible things did you have to face or do to get hands on it? Nothing. All we did was have a talk. He showed me their power, and we discussed the extent of their influence. Valk, do you have your all-powerful phone ready? Let me guess. Google time? By the way, here. She tossed the goggles to Ethan, and he smiled. He put them on and he could feel Kat again. He had realized when he was with the fallen, he didn't feel a little empty. That he felt a little empty. Kat was always there in his head, and he missed her. I missed you too. What did you learn? Valk, if you could look up Antarctica and the U.S. military and Nazi. Valk searched and chuckled. There's a lot of conspiracy and alien discussion here. There are a few U.S. missions. There was a discussion concerning Operation High Jump during Nazi time in 1946 and 47, led by Admiral Byrd. Okay, the Fallen said they defeated U.S. military. Changed the search to Project High Jump Military Beaten. Okay, one sec. She read it a little and nodded. Okay, here we go. There was Bird's ship, the North Wind, a catapult ship, Pine Island, the destroyer, Brownson, the aircraft carrier, Philippine Sea, U.S. sub, Senate, 2 support vessels, Yankee and Merrick, 2 tankers, Canstead and Capacan, destroyer Henderson, and float plane Currituck. And she's given the article more and looked grim. There's more here that states there were 250,000 Germans unaccounted for. Ethan nodded, recalling Azazel mentioned the force he saw was new recruits. Operation High Jump had all of those ships, plus they had 1,400 soldiers and 3 dog sled teams. So he paused and continued reading. There's a lot of talk here about reverse engineering of spaceships, etc. Spaceships and aliens? Chuckled Ethan. What? There are aliens. There have been for a long time. They deal mostly with the mages and the governments and the people in their need-to-know levels. As far as spaceships, sometimes mages will enchant items and use them to fly around, but they don't want to draw attention to themselves, so they'll make it look like a UFO. I've seen real UFOs and the mage UFOs, said Valk. So does this describe a battle? Not on this one. Let me change the search to Project High Jump gets their ass kicked. She waited and scanned. Here's an article written January 2017, American Empire Exposed. Admiral Byrd's post, World War II, lost battle against military advanced German and or ET forces. Yeah, that sounds right. What does it say? Wow, this one has more numbers. Task Force 68, 13 warships, 4,700 Navy, Marine personnel, blah, blah, blah. Here's what you were asking about. 3 ships sunk. Byrd's fleet retreated home. After the Soviet Union broke up in 1991, KGB released documents confirming Project High Jump's missions were to capture and destroy German base there in Antarctica. Okay, so that matches what he said. It also said no governments would allow any activity in Antarctica. Is there anything like that? Okay, so I searched for Antarctica and USA military. One of the resulting pages is 1959. Antarctica made a military-free continent. 12 nations, including U.S., Soviet Union, signed the Antarctica Treaty, which bans military activity and weapon testing on the continent. Yeah, that sounds like what he mentioned. The Germans and the Fallen are homies? Asked Sparkles. Yes, the others too, I believe. Azazel hinted that they have influence around the world and have told the leaders of their world as long as they are left alone, there wouldn't be any problems. But if the government moved on them, there would be problems. Age-old adage, don't start no shiz, won't be no shiz, says Sparkles. Yeah. Did they try to recruit you to the new movement? Asked Val. Yeah, they did invite me. I told them I'd need to consider it. I'm not trying to make enemies, and they seem to be building an army. I want to learn more about them and the organizations and see what's really going on. Nazis, huh? Said Sparkles, shaking her head as she continued. They were bad news, man. I think we just avoid them and leave them be. They aren't messing with us, and we got the damn card. I think we're pretty lucky. Agreed, said Valk. Ethan, I think the further you stay from them the better, said Melissa with a concerned look. Relax. I'm not going to the dark side because my father's in there. He seemed cold and indifferent. He seemed amused by me and said my suspicions were way off and wrong about them and their motivation. He admitted to setting a trap for Leviathan, but it was more to see who the Oracle would send. I don't know if I believe him 100%, but he did give up the card easy enough, so yeah, this is a solid win. Are you going to place the card in rotation? Yes. Ethan cut his finger again, traced a new symbol on the card, sent it into the rotation. As he did, he could see another 3 cards in his mind. More than that, he could feel them. They cried out for another. You sense that? He asked Kat. The push to get the last card? Yeah, I can feel the other cards as they appear and disappear now, almost like I could follow the pull if they were nearby. I wonder what would happen if I brought all the cards here now. I wonder if we can skip the Fae King and all together and just use the cards. Now let's see. I can't. Oh yeah, high jump bird, yeah. Let's see. But you don't know how to use the cards, cautioned Kat. Actually, as I handled the last card, I felt something very cold, and in that instant I understood how the Empress card played a role in the cards, at least her primary ability, which I think I see what the Oracle wants. What's that? I think she wants to age. Somehow it seems she's stuck in a child's form. The Empress card does a lot with birth, aging, and abundance. Interesting. Birth, fertility? Yeah, that's part of it. If someone was infertile, I know the card could correct that. So, how would you use the cards to locate the final card? Well, when I was using the Magician card, some of the energy snaked out, searching for the other cards. I suspect it will do the same when they are all combined, at least the 4 we have. I think that is an amazingly bad idea. Have you not noticed that you have begun to change slightly since you've been in contact with the cards? You can't explain why you need to complete the cards. You want to experiment with them. You don't see what's happening, but I do. Maybe the Watchers know as well, and that's why they decided to not use the cards for themselves. Ethan thought about it and nodded. I see your point. I have been a bit obsessed about the cards. Okay, I'll tell the others we're going to take a small break and celebrate. Hey guys, I've been talking with Kat. I realize I've been a bit obsessed regarding the cards. We should celebrate, take inventory on all the success we've had. I was thinking we should take a trip somewhere beautiful, take the day to recharge our batteries, and consider the next few moves. I was suggesting we use the 4 cards to try and hunt down the 5th card. Kat thinks it's a bad idea, which then leaves us the Fae King, which I know Sparkles is opposed to. Let's take a day to chill and think. How's that sound? Sounds awesome, said Sparkles. Yeah, I could see the value of taking a day to recoup, said Melissa. I go where you go. Who knows? It might end up being an interesting trip. What are you thinking? Asked Valk. You know where we should go, said Melissa. Where? Fiji. Ethan smiled. Why not? Always wanted to visit it, and after Mordecai and Kat explained it to me that it's a neutral spot, it might be good to relax there. Hell to the yeah! Let's hit up Fiji, says Sparkles with a huge grin. Alright, so we are now on chapter 32. That's where we're going to end it. Looks like we ran a little bit more than an hour, which is fine. But there it goes. And my eyes are jacked anyway. I can't even... Oh, the yak was in here. Cool. Couldn't even really read very well. My eyes are all blurry. So that's going to be it. We are now, let's see here, chapter 32. So really, 33 is a big one. 34. And then 35. So I think that's going to be the next episode. And then 35, 36, 37, 38, 39. That'll probably be the one after that. And then the last one, 40, 41. Yeah. So depending how it goes, it's going to be 2 more, maybe 3 more. But we are pretty close, guys. We're getting right near the finish line here. And that'll be cool because that will be the end of the very first book. And then after that, I think we'll go back to doing some of the traditional real-time story times. We'll start advertising that, letting people know that we're going to be doing that again. And then go from there. All right, guys. That's it for now. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for spending time with me on a Sunday. And I will see you motherfuckers next time.